And welcome to week 2 of Dating and Intimate Relationships. I loved reading your genograms and hearing about your different families. It was so interesting how so many of your families were different in several ways, but then a lot of your families were very similar in some ways. And so it was really interesting to hear about your diverse families, and just kind of hear how they're all made up and what those special relationships look like for you. I also enjoyed reading your perspective taking, and y'all did a great job of being very respectful when you disagreed with one another. I was really impressed with how well y'all handled that whole situation. It was really interesting to read all of your posts. So I hope that you had the opportunity to go back in and kind of read things that people responded to your posts, as well as kind of even to read some of the ones that maybe you hadn't gotten a chance to read um, at another time. So anyway, we are now into week 2. And so in week 2, we're going to take a look at marriage. And then we're also going to kind of take a look at gender roles and how that impacts relationships. So chapter 3 really looks at kind of the history of marriage and the history of relationship. So you're going to have an opportunity to kind of look at that in your family, as well as for yourself. And chapter 4 really looks at more stereotypical behavior, sexism, and how we might treat genders differently, and why we do that. So I encourage you to kind of look at the discussion post. Now, one thing I did notice from week 1, some of you were a little thin on your responses. So make sure that you're really thoroughly examining the questions that are given to you, and really giving good, solid answers, and really thinking through, because that's what I'm looking for, is a really thoughtful response to the discussion posts, as well as your responses to the different people's discussion posts. So not only to the initial prompt, giving a really thorough explanation and really exploring why you feel the way you feel, but also responding to other people's posts in a very thoughtful way. Your journal entry this week is going to be really interesting. I want you to come up with some questions, and then I want you to interview 3 different family members. Ideally, they are not people that live in your home with you or that you grew up with. But like grandparents, uncles, if you have great grandparents, maybe they're in a different country, maybe they're in a different city, maybe they just live in a different household. You may have to do it through email or Skype or FaceTime if you don't have the opportunity to ask some of these questions face to face. But you're going to really be looking at, how do families look differently based on generations? Did your parents or your grandparents' families look different than your family does now? And so I really want you to take that opportunity to explore and examine how that looks different and what the differences are. So remember, all of that information is private. Nobody else gets to see it except me. And so I'll just be really interested to see your analysis of how your family has functioned and how your family has changed throughout the generations. So that'll be a really fun thing for you to kind of look at. So as always, make sure you're keeping up with your Mind Tap assignments. Those are all through the Cengage app, so make sure that you're getting those done. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Look forward to getting to know you some more throughout the week. Please let me know if you have questions, and I'll just look forward to talking to each of you soon. Bye.